Good afternoon, and welcome to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. I am your host, Kevin King. He is I, and I am him, the 800 Credit Score Man himself. And again, thank each and every one of you guys for coming in and listening to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. However you get it, however you listen to it, whether it's on iTunes or Stitcher or Google Play or at Spreaker.com or even on YouTube, please share this all with all your friends and family, your Facebook friends, all your social media buddies. Go ahead and share this show. Do not make it the best kept secret in town and in podcasts. Share the 800 Credit Score Man Show. So look, what are we going to talk about today? Today we are going to talk about how to gain points for your credit score. Like, after all, that's the whole premise of this show. The whole mission of this show is to help you increase your credit scores so you can lower the interest rates that you have to pay, and you're going to save yourself some money. So that's what we try to do here on 800 Credit Score Man Show. And I'm going to talk to you today and let you know some of the things that you can do to make this happen for you. All right. So let's do this first. Remember those good old days of dual income, no kids, double-digit pay raises, and 2-for-1 stock splits? Well, these days, money's a lot harder to get a hold of and even harder to hang on to. That's why State Farm agent Paul Donning would like to introduce you to the Discount Double Check. He'll go through your car insurance policy line by line to make sure you're getting the discounts you deserve and aren't leaving any money on the table. It's fast, it's free, and when he's done finding you 10% here, 15% there, you could find yourself looking at discounts up to 40%. That can mean savings worth hundreds of dollars, and that's a pretty good return for simply investing a few minutes of your time. So call State Farm agent Paul Donning today at 219-884-6947, because being there to help keep more of your money in your pocket is why he's here. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. So look, you guys, let's jump into this right quick. First, let me say, Happy Labor Day. Happy Labor Day weekend. People got 3-day weekend. Everybody's all happy. Be safe out there. Number one thing, be safe out there. But happy Labor Day weekend, everybody. Take some well-deserved, I'm sure, time off and have some fun with your family and friends, all right? So let's go ahead. If you're new to the show, let me tell you a little bit about the show. I'm going to come on, I'm going to present a topic that has something to do with credit or finances, but primarily credit. We're going to talk about that topic, and somewhere in the middle of the show, we're going to do the question of the day. The question of the day comes from you. It comes from the listeners. So if you have a question, a credit question, please email me that question at 800-creditscoreman@gmail.com. If you email me there, I will absolutely answer your question right back to you, and you may become a part of the 800 Credit Score Man Show family, because I might use you as the question of the day as well. All right, so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about how can you gain points on your credit report and your credit score, because that's what everybody wants to do, right? So look, let's do this. Let me do a couple of shout outs too. If you're new to the show, I do shout outs all the time. So if you have an anniversary or birthday or whatever it is, your kid crosses a particular fraternity or sorority, let me know. I'll shout them out on the show as well. So I'm going to start the show out with this particular shout out. I want to shout out Roy and Kelly Hudson. They're celebrating 15 years of marriage. Now, I call Roy Boo, and a lot of people call Kelly Angie. I call her Angie as well. So shout out to Roy and Angie. Or if it's Boo and Kelly, shout out to you guys for 15 years of marriage that they're celebrating this weekend. Congratulations to you guys, and I wish you many, many more. And also want to say congratulations and best wishes to Mr. and Mrs. George and Beth Crawford. They celebrated their nuptials last week, or actually on Sunday, last Sunday. So they've been married a whole 6 days. So may you guys have longevity like this next couple, which is Norman and Unetta Bacon, who celebrated, I don't even know how many years, like 60 plus years of marriage. So congratulations to you, Norman and Unetta Bacon as well. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the show. The best ways for you to gain points on your credit report. Now, I know what you're thinking. I know this dude is not going to tell me yet again that I need to make payments and make the payments on time every time so I can get points on my credit report. If you think that I'm going to say that to you, you would be wrong. Nope, that's not what I'm going to tell you today. Now, of course, it's imperative. It's imperative that you make those payments on time. If you did not listen to last week's show, I told you in no uncertain circumstances how many points you could or would lose, even depending on where your credit score was at the particular time, how many points you'll lose for showing up 30 days late on your credit report. So, yes, you absolutely must make your payments, but this particular show is talking about how to gain payments. Making those payments help you maintain. So not gain, but making those payments and making them on time help you maintain your good credit. That's what you need to do for maintenance. So we're not talking about that today. We're absolutely talking about some of the things that you can do to go ahead and gain points on your credit report. So let me jump into number one. The number one, well, let me not put it that way. This is not in any particular order. This isn't the best thing that you can do necessarily. They're not in any particular order. You take these things that I'm going to tell you today and you fit them in where you can. All of them may not apply to you. So one thing, not the number one thing that you can do to go ahead and help increase your credit score is to increase your average length of history. Now, you say, how in the world do I increase my average length of history? I know how I can decrease it because you already told me that before, Kevin. You already told me that the way to decrease it is to go ahead and get another account, and so that's going to lower the average length that I've had credit. Well, you're going to increase your average length of history by becoming an authorized user on someone else's credit card that has had that card for a long time. Not only have they had it for a long time, they must also have a good or a decent limit and a very low, if no balance at all, and have paid it perfectly forever. If you've got that, then you want to become an authorized signer on that particular kind of account. And it's got to be at least bare minimum 7 years. Most of the people that I talk to, and I forget what the average is in the United States, but most of the people that I talk to have a average length of history between 3 and 4.5 years. So I'm saying to you that you want that particular credit card to be over 7 years. 7 years old, you want that particular credit card to be there. And again, you want that credit card to have a higher limit and a lower balance. Now, that's what you can do to increase your average length of history, is to become an authorized signer on somebody else's credit card. And I bet I might have to do this myself. I might have to offer you guys, let you become an authorized user on 1, 2, or 3 of my credit cards. And I bet you if I said, I'll let you do it, if you give me $200, somebody will take me up on it. Maybe more than 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 people will take me up on that. But I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. But I bet if you got on Facebook or Instagram, or, you Google something, I bet you probably find somebody out there that's making those kinds of offers. I'm not saying I suggest it. I'm not saying that I suggest that, but I can see that happening out there. All right, so when you do this, when you increase your average length of history, what do? How does this help you? Here's how it helps you, and helps you so well. Their average length of history is 15% of your credit score. So that's 15%, right? By doing this, you also positively impact your debt utilization, because again, you're going to add all of this limit and it has very low balance. So that's going to help you out, right? That's 30% of your credit score. Then on top of that, it's going to have a great payment history. I told you that's one of the requirements. It has to have a great payment history. That's 35% of your credit score. So this one positive move that you could make by becoming an authorized signer could positively impact 80%. Yes, 80% of what your credit score is made up of by doing just this one action. So that is absolutely going to help you boost your credit score. And this is something, if you know someone that has decent credit, and actually, quite frankly, they don't even have to have decent or good credit. They need to have one card that they've never jacked up. And that's really all it is. If they've got one card that they never jacked up and a regular credit card, a Visa, a MasterCard, an American Express, if they've got one card that they just never jacked up, they probably never will mess it up, and it's got a $10,000 balance, for example, it doesn't have to be that big, and they only owe $250 on it, that's a perfect place for you to be. And if you do that, you're going to increase your credit score. I almost can guarantee it. You're going to increase your credit score if you do that. All right, so look, that was just one thing that you can do right away, right now, to go ahead and increase your credit score. I have a whole bunch of shout outs today. So I'm going to jump in between more than I typically do. And I want to give these quick shout outs right here. So I got to give a shout out to my godson, Drake. Drake Hudson, he celebrated a 14-year birthday this week. So I want to say this boy was so hype. He's been sending out Facebook posts and text messages and everything for about a week. Pictures of him when he was 2 years old, stuff like your mom and dad would do. He was already doing it. So I want to give him a shout out for his birthday, 14 years to Drake Hudson. My niece, Kylan McElroy, celebrated 15 years this week. So happy birthday to you, Kylan. I believe I might see you this weekend because you might be in my city taking in the sights for your birthday. So happy birthday to you, Kylan. And I got to give a shout out to one of the coolest dudes I ever seen, I ever met. 16 years old this week, Aaron Durham. I got to give him a big shout out as well. So happy birthday to you, young man. Keep going, keep striving. All right, so let's get to another thing. So we already talked about one thing, which was increasing your average length of history, right? So then let's talk about a second item that you can do, or something you can do to help you gain more points to your credit report. And this is to decrease your credit card debt. Yes, you need to decrease your credit card debt. That will help you with your credit score. Just in the last point, I told you about your debt utilization. That's what happens with your credit card debt. It's called your debt utilization. If you decrease that number down to 30% or lower, your credit score is going to undoubtedly improve. It's going to improve for you. So when it comes to calculating your score or calculating your debt utilization, I'm going to tell you exactly how to do it, and I'm going to give you an example as well. And I'm not going to give you the cookie cutter example that I typically do where it's $10,000, and that's easy to figure out. That's easy to figure out. I'm going to give you something you might have to pull out your calculator for today so you can go ahead and realize what your debt utilization is. And let me say this, reducing your debt is almost like a magic pill. And there are no magic pills to good credit. You've got to work on it. Earlier this week, I was having a conversation back and forth with someone on social media just about this same subject. There is no magic pill. There is no magic bullet. Some of these things you just have to work on. Now, there's a formula to it. And what we know, I try to give you every week on Saturday, 1:30 Central Standard Time, right here on the 800 Credit Score Man Show. So come back so you can get all of these little pearls and all these little pieces so you can create your own particular magic. So here's what you want to do in regards to your debt utilization and getting down your debt. You want your debt utilization to be at 30% or less. Now, what in the world does that mean? You want it to be 30% or less. So if you have a particular limit, you want your balance to be 30% of whatever that limit is or less. That's going to get you the most points. And then the further you go down, so you go down from 30% to 25% to 20%, the further you go down, the better it is for you. You're going to get more and more points each and every time. Now, here's how you figure out your debt utilization. For you to get your debt utilization, all you have to do is take the total of all of your limits. Take the total of all your limits, add those limits up. Then take the total of all your balances and add those up. Then take your total balances and divide that by your total limit. That'll give you what your percentage is. Now, you should get a number that will have a decimal point in it. It should be 0.68977 or whatever it is. That's what you should get when it comes to that. And what you'll have to do is move that decimal point 2 places to the right. So if it was 0.69 blah blah blah, then you're going to move it, and you're going to move it 2 places, which means you have a 69% debt utilization. That's how you're going to figure out